citizen. Yeah, that's how we've heard it. All right. So, okay, Seth remembered the race was ready to begin. Do you guys know now why the clock was on 12 o'clock?
Yeah, because it was going to start at 12 o'clock.
Okay. 5 minutes, 3 minutes. The soldiers now stood with rifles pointing upward. A cannon was to give the first signal. This the rifles were to take up and carry on as fast as the sound could travel the length of the Cherokee Strip. To Seth and his brother, the sights of horses, rigs, wagons, and riders were like desert mirages. All they could see were 2 solid miles of tossing horse heads, restless hooves, and wild white eyes. And then Seth recalled. Mirages first, before Seth recalls anything.
Mirages are images in the distance that appear to be real but are not.
So they're calling the horses, the rigs, the wagons, and the riders a mirage. Are they really there?
They are, but they're like,
They're not there.
they're like explaining.
They're using them like, is that a simile? Is that a metaphor? What is that? A simile? Is a simile used like and as? And, oh, and they use the word like, so simile, right? Okay, here's what Seth recalls. The rifles snapped and the line broke with a huge crackling roar. That one thundering moment of horse flesh by the mile quivering in its first leap forward was a gift of the gods, and its like will never come again. The next instant we were in a crash of vehicles, whizzing past each other like a calamity. When it was all over, the boys traveled back at a slower pace to Kansas, fueled by the adventure that they had just witnessed. But thousands of others whose stunted excitement was due to failure straggled along with them. All right, they went back, Trevor, at a slower pace. Why did they go back to Kansas? Why did they go back to Kansas? Say what?
So they'd have to worry about it?
Well, I don't know.
Or did they already claim land and then go to Kansas?
Well, they went back at a slower pace. What do you think? Did they claim land in Oklahoma?
Maybe.
Yeah, because they were rushing fast and then they had to go tell like the government of Kansas or something that they got land in 505 or something like that.
Does Kansas care if you have land in Oklahoma?
Yeah,
Because what?
it's its neighbor state.
Because it's a neighbor state? Have you ever thought that maybe they had to go back to Kansas because they didn't get land?
Maybe.
I wondered
Maybe
that
they
because
didn't
it was
sell
a
their
slower
land.
pace.
Maybe they didn't sell their land first, and like,
In Kansas?
yeah, in Kansas, and then they needed to sell their land. As like a spot.
Could be. My thoughts were a little different than you guys. I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but my thoughts were they went back at a slower pace because they were disappointed they didn't get land in Oklahoma.
But there was also like 500 million things.
And that's why I thought, well, because there was a lot of people too, right? There might have been lots of land.
The thing is big, their land is big. Maybe they could just share land with someone else.
Big.
Like they had farms.
But what? But if they had to farm?
Well, you can have like separate the field where you had crops.
I wonder if your economic development would be as great, though, if you shared your land. Especially if you have to farm, like Michaela's saying.
Because you have to have room for your cows. You have to have room for your crops.
I'm thinking we'd have to do more research on the land rush to see for sure if everyone got land or not.
Yeah, that's right.
And if they had to go back and sell and tell Kansas, I don't know.
Usually they have like a big farming piece of land. Like you know across like there's cornfields and stuff. I think something like that.
If you have more land, do you get more money?
Yeah.
If you're farming? Yes?
Yeah, technically.
Maybe? No? Why not?
Yeah.
crops are successful?
Well, nobody lets buy them.
How do we make bread?
Wheat.
Wheat. Who has to make the wheat? Farmers, right? There might be some crops though, you're right, Cameron, that aren't, right? What people want to buy? Okay, Emma, you're gonna have to hold on just a second, all right?